purport. It is stated clearly herein that the Supreme Personality of Godhead in its plenary expansion of Super Soul is present in all living entities. The living entities have 84 lakh different kinds of bodies, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is living in every body, both as the individual soul and as the super soul. Since the individual soul is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, in that sense the Lord is living in every body, and as super soul the Lord is also present as a witness. In both cases, the presence of God in every living entity is essential. Therefore, persons who profess to belong to some religious sect, but who do not feel the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in every living entity and everywhere else, are in the mode of ignorance. If without this preliminary knowledge of Lord's omnipresence, one simply attaches himself to the rituals in a temple, church or mosque, it is as if he is offering butter into ashes rather than unto the fire. One offers sacrifices by pouring clarified butter into a fire and chanting Vedic mantras, but even if there are Vedic mantras and all the conditions are favorable, if the clarified butter is poured on ashes, then such a sacrifice will be useless. In other words, a devotee should not ignore any living entity. The devotee must know that in every living entity, however insignificant he may be, even in an ant, God is present, and therefore every living entity should be kindly treated and should not be subjected to any violence. In modern civilized societies, slaughterhouses are regularly maintained and supported by a certain type of religious principle. But without knowledge of the presence of God in every living entity, any so-called advancement of human civilization, either spiritual or material, is to be understood as being in the mode of ignorance. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So this is a very direct statement describing the neophyte Krishna consciousness. Why it's neophyte Krishna consciousness? Because the devotee does not know Krishna's omnipresence, or he does not know the Krishna Tattva, the principle of Vishnu Tattva, the principle of God, he does not know. God, though unlimited, God, though he is a person, he has got unlimited, not he has got, everything in existence is his unlimited Leela. Existence is meant for God, including we also are created for God. Entire existence is Krishna's enjoyment. Our entire existence is under Krishna's order. So in which way Krishna's order is manifest in this material world is very important for a Krishna conscious person to understand. In which way Krishna is involved with every living entity. What is the role of God in this material creation? We hear that He lives eternally in Vaikuntha with His devotees, and there are unlimited Vaikuntha planets. He lives in Goloka Vrindavana. That is in Paravyoma, in the transcendental dimension. 3/4 of His opulence is in the spiritual world, manifestation of His spiritual world. 1/4 of His manifestation in this material world, which is not small, quite significant. 25% is very significant. Sometimes we compare this material world to be a prison house. So generally we tend to think that prison house is a small portion in the city. It usually is. How big is, our central jail in Agrahara? Maybe 25-30 acres. Or how big is Tihar jail in Delhi? Very small portion. The same way we tend to think that, oh, this material world is one small thing, one corner. It is not one corner, it is 1/4. If God has got 100 activities, 25 of His activity is here. So there is a tendency to think that God has no activity here. Then what is this 25 activities of God here? 25 activities of the God, 25% of His activity is His relationship through each of the jivas. He is never isolated. In the material world, God's life is with the jivas. He is seated in everybody's heart. And because of His presence in the heart, because He is accompanying us, we are able to create and experience the world of names, forms, activities, rasa, everything, out of material energy. Material energy, matter by itself, cannot be having any rasa, except rasa of lording over, controlling. But in terms of interpersonal rasa, there is no rasa at all in matter. So how rasa is experienced in the matter which does not contain rasa? Because everything is jadavastu in this material world. Everything is unconscious substance. An unconscious substance cannot give out rasa or take rasa. Is it not? Rasa means pleasure of relationship. An unconscious substance cannot give out or take rasa. So how in this material world we are all experiencing different kinds of rasas? Because we are, with the help of the super soul, we are able to maintain bodily concept of life. It is not easy to come into bodily concept of life. Why? Because we are spirit. Our nature is to the spirit. So it is a very special mercy of Paramatma that we are able to be in bodily concept of life. Why it is His mercy? Because the Lord respects each of our free will. Not that the Lord is very happy to respect each of our free will. That is the absolute nature of our freedom. So to respect that, the Lord go to any extent. So this 25% of his Leela in the material world is a Leela of the Lord respecting the free will of the living entity to do whatever they want. Now, of course, because the soul is spiritual, its original home is spiritual world, and in the spiritual world, he cannot do certain things which he desires, which is independent enjoyment, independent existence, independent knowledge. Since he cannot experience that, he cannot practice that in the spiritual atmosphere, because that is an atmosphere of serving and not an atmosphere of lauding. So every living entity in this material world is in the consciousness of lauding, and that lauding consciousness is facilitated by the super soul as the Upadrishta and Hanumanta, because of which we are able to experience this material world. According to our desire and according to our karma, we can draw the mercy of the Lord. Everything in existence is the mercy of the Lord. Every ability of man is ability of the super soul. You can draw those things only to the extent to your how much you desire and deserve. But it is only by his mercy as Paramatma the material world can run like this. It is only by his mercy that we can be in bodily concept of life and illusorily think that I have a body, illusorily think that I have a male body, another living entity thinks I have a female body. Once in illusion, then there is rasa between man and woman, illusory rasa. Man is illusory, woman is illusory, so rasa is also illusory. How all these things are facilitated? Mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna says, from me comes remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness. So what the verse here says is that unless one understands that even in the material world, the active principle is super soul. Through the agency of Maya. But the active principle is super soul. Maya is only a secondary agent. Because we want illusion, therefore Krishna has to engage Maya. So a neophyte devotee, he sees the principle of God only in the deity. And that is condemned here. And it is compared to pouring clarified butter on ashes. Because one who does not understand the transcendental nature of the Lord, when he worships the deity, he is having a material vision. He does not see the Lord. If you see if you really see one aspect of the Lord, you see all aspects of the Lord. If you are only seeing God is in the deity, that means you are not seeing the aspect of God even in the deity. If you see, then you will see the Lord, all-pervading Lord. The very same deity one is worshipping, the very same deity is sitting in the heart of every living entity as driving life. But driving life in a different relationship with each living entity. But the fact is that it is the same person who is driving. In his manifestation as a deity, he has a specific lila or specific activities. That's the only difference. So coming back to the understanding, this is very important to understand, because there is a tendency to think that the Lord is transcendental only, and one forgets the omnipresence of the Lord. When one is completely absorbed in the transcendental platform, when one is completely detached from the material platform, when one realizes he is a soul, he is an eternal servant of Krishna, then when he has a specific relationship with a specific deity, that is an advanced level. But when we are still in the bodily concept of life, we cannot enter into that kind of a relationship with Krishna. We have to first enter into a relationship of Krishna Tattva, the principles of Krishna everywhere. How to see Krishna's hand in everything, how to see Krishna's manifestation, everything as Krishna permitting this material world to go on. Just like if the mother is cooking and the child is disturbing the mother often, I also want to cook, I also want to cook. Cooking means sharp knife, cutting vegetables. Cooking means fire. Cooking means boiling oil. Cooking means boiling water. How the mother can allow the child? Isn't it? What will the mother do? Buy one toy stove. Buy one toy vessel. And put the child in one room. And then tell the child, okay, now you cook. The child is not even tall enough to reach the kitchen platform. Still it wants to cry, it wants to cook, desire, wish. Similarly, we wish to enjoy independently. So immediately a room is given for us, the material world. And toy stove is given, toy body is given. All our bodies are toy bodies, not real bodies. Real body we have in the spiritual world. Just like toy body is made up of plastics and all those things, right? Real body is made up of flesh, and the toy is made up of non-flesh, wooden toys or all those things. One step you go like that up, you say these are all this flesh, these bags of meat. The toys that are nothing but bags of meat. But you don't see that. You think it is a real male, real female. Just like this child is an illusion, thinking, yes, I got a real stove, I got a real fire, I got real cooking, and then she will be even given real small persons and a dining table, she'll cook and she'll imitate mother nicely. And then in the process, what is she getting? Rasa. But it is a illusory rasa. Rasa she is getting. As long as she believes that stove is real stove, as long as she is believing that the everything that she does is all real things, like the mother. Of course, in our example, it's very difficult to make it look like that, but Krishna's capacity is such that the illusion exactly it will feel. Experientially, you will feel exactly same as in the spiritual world. That is the difference. Therefore, Maya, we cannot get out of it. How do you say I am not this body? I am the body only. You need extra philosophy, you need extra some Shakti to come out of the bodily concept of life, to come out of Maya. But what is the root cause of that kind of Maya? Maya is not the root cause of you being in Maya. What is the root cause? Is our consciousness to be independent? Is our consciousness to forget Krishna? Is our consciousness to forget that I belong to Krishna? Is the consciousness that I am to forget that I am the eternal servant of Krishna? Is the forgetfulness of the eternal consciousness to continuously, eternally appreciate Krishna? So if at our consciousness level, if there is rectification, the way to come out of Maya is by coming out of the consciousness that I am the enjoyer. For that, one has to continuously train one's mind to, at least after becoming devotee, to think that Krishna is the only enjoyer. Now our mind will think, if Krishna is the only enjoyer, that means everybody else are sufferers. No, if Krishna is the only enjoyer, everybody else has got, and Krishna is the enjoyer means what? He enjoys whom? He enjoys everything and everybody. When Krishna is the only enjoyer, and if he is enjoying everything and everyone, will everything and everyone suffer? Will they also get enjoyment? Will get enjoyment. The problem is to think that I will enjoy. Our constitutional position of joy is I am given enjoyment by Krishna. Just like even in the material world, you are given a body, you are given enjoyment by Paramatma, but according to your karma. You are given a kind of intelligence according to karma. Whatever we have today, whatever everybody has today, for practicing his perverted rasa in this material world, is given by Paramatma only. There is a sanctioner. By sanctioning that, our desires, even illusory desires, illusory fulfillment itself requires sanction. Because why is it called illusory? Not everything is illusion. Your mind is an illusion. But the ingredients of illusion are not false. The Lord, the absolute Lord, has to sanction something. Only then, not a blade of grass will move without its sanction. Coming back to the example of the mother and the child, that's a very crude example. If you consider that there are many children who are disturbing the mother, he'll put all of them in one room. So, and he'll put all of them in illusion you are playing. There's a real world there. So therefore, one thing, even in this illusory world, one truth is that we are all real people. Soul is a reality. Soul is an eternal part and parcel of Krishna in this illusory world also. But for him to experience that illusion, he needs Paramatma. Lord expands as Paramatma. So this is the way this illusory world is manifest by the Lord. And one who understands that, he sees that what the Lord really desires in the heart of every living entity. A few purports before we read how Prabhupada says that anybody who preaches Krishna consciousness becomes very dear to Krishna. Anybody who shows compassion to the other living entities and gives them Krishna consciousness, immediately the Lord is very pleased. So to please the Lord in the heart, we need to understand the fundamental feeling of the super soul. The fundamental feeling of the super soul is towards the living entities. That is why, in one sense, the Upanishads gives the example of two birds on a tree. One bird is eating the fruit. The other bird is sitting silent. Even though the other bird is sitting silent, it is that bird which is sanctioning the fruit. It is that bird which is maintaining the tree. What fruit should be given to the bird each time, that is, he is deciding that. Of course, according to laws of, the plantation, or the laws of biological laws, in the same way there are laws of karma. It's a tree of karma. Each living entity is sitting on a tree of karma, and a law of karma is operating, and according to law of karma, the seeds are sprouting, the fruits are the tree bears the fruits, the living entity is eating the fruits. But it so happens the fruits are bitter as well as sweet. So the living entity is continuously, it always wants sweet fruits, but it's having bitter and sweet fruits in life. And even the sweet fruits are all temporary. So the Paramatma is very compassionate. If you on your own, if the living entity, if you on your own you want to come back to me, if you on your own have understood that I cannot be, my being independent, my being an isolated individual is a lie. I as separated from Krishna is a lie. It is not the truth. It is an illusion. I as separate from Krishna is not I. I separated from Krishna is a false I. So I am living the life of false eyes. I am not living for myself. I am living for some ghosts. False eyes are ghosts. Correct, you create one eye and then you live for him, you satisfy that eye. Just like when sense gratification, suddenly in the mind one false ego will come. You will enjoy and then it will go away. It will loot your body and it will go away. And again, suddenly some other time, whenever opportune moment will come, again it will come and haunt you. Will engage your body, and then afterwards it will go away. So, by hearing this Srimad Bhagavatam, by hearing the simple, these are not, Krishna Tattva is not a very great, difficult, complicated philosophy. It is simple. Lord's omnipresence is a simple fact. The Lord is present everywhere. And but to understand exactly what the Lord is doing, and what is the Lord expecting from the living entity, because he is a person. If he is a person and he is seated in my heart, what is his purpose? These things we understand from Krishna consciousness. No other religion gives that much clear picture of the personality of the super soul as what the philosophy of Bhagavata gives. In fact, most of the other world religions have no understanding why this material world is created, why all these things. No other, neither Christianity nor Islam, they have a very clear picture of these things. why the full picture is not given? Because it's very difficult for them to accept the fact that if I think I'm independent of God, I will be in this forgetfulness. I'll be put into this, I will be facilitated with this forgetfulness in this material world, and that is this material world. Especially so, I am independent enjoyer. I am an independent earner of my enjoyment. I am independent existence. I will take care of my existence. You should take in the material world, everybody is thinking that he is independent because he has a desire to be independent. Therefore, according to law of karma, be independent. Some people are successful in being independent. Some people fail in independence. Some people fail so miserably, there is no food to eat also. Poverty. That means existence itself, they are not be able to be independent. Some people are secure in their existence. According to them, existence means I am this body. So they are not able to secure that even their own bodily existence. No food, no money, bad karma. That means even false rasa of independent existence is governed by laws of karma. This false rasa itself is governed by laws of karma. So before we imitate the transcendental relationship with the Lord, one has to understand the immanent relationship of the Lord with everything in this material world. Immanent means here, in this material world, everything is connected to God. Every energy is coming from God, everything is connected to God. So therefore this world is going under the order of God, ultimately. One easy way of understanding this role of Paramatma in everything is just like Prabhupada has given a very beautiful example of how in a forest, all the plants, all the trees, everything is existing because of rain. Rain is the cause of everything in the forest. But rain is not the cause of a mango tree becoming a mango tree. The rain is taken by a mango seed and it becomes a mango seed is a cause of mango tree. A jackfruit tree is a cause of jackfruit tree. You cannot say God is so partial, He is a cause of everything. He is the one who is a cause of one tree becoming mango, another tree becoming jackfruit, another thing become neem. The same way we cannot say that God is a cause of your handicap, God is your material handicap, God is a cause of your material opulence. No, He is a foundational cause. Without rain, without His sanction, neither you can be poor nor you can be rich. Without His sanction. You take away rain, forest is finished, isn't it? So you take away super soul, material world cannot exist. He is a foundation of the super soul. So how can we not see Him? Omnipresence. Omnipresence of the Lord is a fact. By me in my unmanifested form, I expand everywhere. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, my question is, in this material world, a devotee is given a kind of role to play in which there is a lording over tendency or lording over opportunity involved. Because there is a need to train people and there are leaders' job.
There's a need to
Train people. So this
train people.
in the material world.
Train.
I mean, for training people, like leaders are required in material world, but spiritual world there is no.
Acha, okay, train people to become leaders. Need for whom?
I am asking.
Material world.
In the material world.
Material world, yes.
Suppose a devotee takes a role like that, and since he is a devotee, so assuming that he has purified his subtle body, means thinking, feeling, willing level, he is not thinking himself as like a lord. But on the gross level, in terms of action, still this lording.
He has to be lord of some things.
Yeah, yeah. So I just wanted to ask: is this gross action does not have any significant role in
gross act? Yes. For instance, take the example of Guru. Guru for the outside world.
Yes, bro.
He is lording over all the disciples. Guru is a master and disciple is servant. Guru is the one who gives order, you have to follow. So then one may think that, see, the Guru himself is practicing lording. Or take senior Vaishnavas. They give order to junior Vaishnavas. So junior Vaishnava he should simply follow his work and he should follow. Now he should not be interpreting, Arey Papa, they're all lording over. What is this culture of lording over? Everybody in the ashram is lording over. Senior ho gaya, junior aa gaya. Yeah. It is a consciousness that we are talking about. In this material world, somebody has to give order, somebody has to take order. There is no escape to that. It's an organization, whether this is an ISKCON organization or an outside society. There is always leader and follower. And every leader is somewhere follower of somebody. Every follower has a leader. Correct? Material world is like that. If the main preacher is having somebody below him to take instruction from him, now he has to take instruction from the temple president. Right? So somewhere he is following, somewhere he is leading. So the whole idea is, what is his attitude? You can lead in this world in the attitude of serving the person whom you are giving instruction. I am serving him. Serving him means what? Somebody else's interest is involved, not my interest. Krishna's and Prabhupada's interest, in Prabhupada and Krishna's instruction, I am giving him an order, hey, come on, do this cleaning properly. Why your mind is here and there? See how this pot is not clean. You are telling that on behalf of Prabhupada and Krishna. Arey, I have to do. It's my duty. I have to correct him. I have to tell him. And if consciousness is, according to his consciousness, you have to tell him. If he is very proud and he will not listen and all those things, then you will have to very tactfully tell. Because Prabhupada also would be very tactful. How to engage the living entity. He is rebellious. So Paramatma will give you the intelligence, how to very nicely tell him. Suppose 5 pots are there, 4 pots, oh, so nicely you washed, so nice. Then the 5th pot is there. See, there is a problem. So when you praise the 5 pots that he has cleaned, when you tell the 5th pot is, you have neglected, immediately he will clean it. Oh, thank you, Prabhu, he will say. Suppose all the 4 pots you forget that he has cleaned nicely. 1 pot you saw. What is this, Prabhu? This is the way you clean it. Become depressed. Isn't it? So Vaishnavas learn how to see the good in everyone. The good in everyone is that much attention he has given to Krishna, and then help him to give the attention where he neglected. So these are, see, even in guiding a devotee, it is not simply all. If your attitude is correct, then you are acting as a leader, as a servant of the Supreme Lord. So your mood is still servant. As I explained the other day in the class, the Guru is thinking that every disciple is whom I want to offer the lotus feet of the Lord every day. Just like you offer flowers to the Lord, and then afterwards you take the flower and keep it on your head. The Guru is also keeping the disciple on his head like this. This is his mood. Even disciple, anybody who serves Krishna is worshipable. Oh, flower has served the Lord. So it all depends on the attitude, not what the outside world thinks, not what you materially you see. The Vaishnava society is not a society of hierarchy of power rasa. Hierarchy of power rasa. Okay, you become little senior, then you got more power rasa. You become temple president, you got more power rasa. You become GBC, you are entitled for more power rasa. No. In Vaishnava, when you become senior Vaishnava, your dasa rasa should increase. When you become next level leader, your dasa rasa should have increased. Isn't it? When you become GBC, your dasa rasa should be increasing more. In the material world, if somebody is promoting himself from one to then finally to MD to chairman is becoming, his power rasa is increasing. You can't help because that's what he is living for. He lived, his ambition was to become the MD. His desire itself is to become the MD. So when he becomes MD, will he not enjoy or not? He will. Similarly, devotees also should never ever desire these things. Once you desire, finish. When you get it, you are drinking poison. The safest path is always be in the dasarasa. And you can find a ways and means to find what is the attitude now. Even an ordinary, even a dog, how can I be his servant? Maybe nothing to express now. But everything should be intelligently done. How can I serve the dog? You don't go and touch his 2 feet. There's nothing to do for me. That it's not about drama. It is genuine. Not to throw stone on a dog is giving due respect to the dog. Not to kick the dog out is giving due respect to God. Giving little prasadam to the dog is giving due respect to the dog. An opportunity is come. Here is some dog has come by. Give him some prasadam. So if dasatva is there, everywhere Krishna's compassion can be distributed. Yes, next question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, you mentioned in the lecture that you need some extra Shakti or Bala to come out of Maya, and root cause of Maya is forgetfulness of Krishna. Now, Prabhu, forgetfulness, if we think, there are 2 things, forgetfulness and remembrance. Now, in our body, we have Sharirik Bala, Mano Bala, and Buddhi Bala and Atma Bala. Now, Buddhi Bala has the characteristic of remembering something. Buddhi Bala, we remember, we have memory. Buddhi, by Buddhi, if we have nice Buddhi, we remember. Now, Prabhu, in outside world, we see so many advertisements that Sona Chandi Shavan Prash, Sona de Surakshit Tan and Chandi de Tez Dimag means something gives intelligence, high intelligence, some material objects which you eat and you get high intelligence.
You get?
Now, high intelligence to remember, you get nice memory. Now, Prabhu, my question is, the Shakti, extra Shakti, which is being mentioned, it is the Bala or Buddhi Bala, or which is being, as we hear in scriptures, the Balaram, Lord Balaram, which gives the extra Shakti. So, if that is Buddhi Bala, then should I go for
No,
the...
these are all material buddhi. There is material buddhi, there is, material intelligence, then there is spiritual intelligence. Spiritual intelligence is coming from spiritual master, is coming from super soul, is coming from Balaram. Spiritual intelligence. Spiritual intelligence is intelligence that discriminates matter and spirit, is a basic spiritual intelligence. Then there is finer spiritual intelligence of how to please Krishna, all those things. So spiritual intelligence, spiritual bala is different, material bala is different. Material bala is distributed as per karma, laws of karma. You understand? Spiritual intelligence is distributed by by attracting the mercy of the spiritual master.
By how to attract the mercy if I want the Bala to, because I feel...
How to attract the mercy? Every bead of yours you should say, I am not the enjoyer. 1728 times every day you say, after chanting and hearing, I am not the enjoyer. You are the only enjoyer. Can you say that with conviction? You should say that with conviction. Doesn't matter. Even if you are not convinced, say with conviction. Slowly it will sink inside. It is a very big thing to recognize and tell Krishna, Krishna, you are the only enjoyer. Krishna will be so happy. At last you have accepted. At last you have accepted, I am the only enjoyer. And when I enjoy you, you will enjoy. You will enjoy my prasadam. You are entitled to enjoy my prasadam. And when I enjoy you, that enjoyment you cannot compare to any of these beggary enjoyments of this material world. What the Maya has given you. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, my question is like...
Last question. Quickly.
Regarding you told that this creation, actually Prabhu, in different contexts, it's being this concept of 3/4 of spiritual and 1/4 of material creation. It is explained, like sometimes it is, Prabhupada only writes in purpose that it's material world is just like jail, as you said, and it's just insignificant.
But he doesn't say it's a small jail.
It's very insignificant.
We add that into our mind. It's a jail means it's fish out of the water. It's a huge leela of the Lord. 25%.
So Prabhu, like if we say 25%, so in one sense we are quantifying it. Like if it is 25% means we can, material world we can measure
25%
also.
of infinity and 75% of infinity.
But how to Prabhu, will you please elaborate this concept?
I elaborated already. There is infinity. Everything about the Lord is infinity. So 25% of his vibhuti is here. 75% of his vibhuti is there. And his vibhuti is infinite. So there is quarter infinite and 3/4 infinite. That mathematics, no mathematicians have found out. Nowadays they are trying to figure out. Earlier mathematics only thought of only one infinity. Now physicists and mathematicians are they are figuring out there could be different types of infinities. There could be fraction of infinity also. Cannot conceive it. Even they cannot conceive. In paper it is showing possibility. What it means they don't know. Just like most of the science, what it really means, what this equation means, nobody knows. The equation is there, but what it means, nobody knows. What it means in reality, they do not know. Jai Grandaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.